So I'm going to make this kind of short and sweet. I felt like somebody had, well, it's not just me, but somebody had to push back on the whole AI is crap and AI creation is soulless and all this stuff. This is why it's on my mind. I mean, it's on my mind a lot because I think AI creation is very, very cool. But you may have seen this today. One of the two brothers who directed the Avengers movies, along with some other things, says he's talking about potential AI, and he's not even advocating it, but he's saying in the future, about 10 years from now, not that long, you could use AI to engineer storytelling. And here's an example. You could save the AI on your streaming platform. You could say to the AI on your streaming platform, you could tell it, I want a rom-com starring my avatar and Marilyn Monroe's avatar. And it renders a story with dialogue that mimics your voice. So you curate your story specifically for you. And of course, I've been talking about this for a while. I think video games, as well as certainly movies, text to video is already, kind of slowly showing us this. But of course, I'm like, okay, let me go to the comments because I know I'm going to get a bunch of stupid, I hate to be a dick, stupid comments on this. So a lot of everything about this sounds awful. Why? This is the cinematic version of Choose Your Own Adventure books. It has been tried. No, it is not the cinematic version of Choose Your Own Adventure books. It's got nothing to do with that. You're not sitting there making choices. You're saying, give me a new Indiana Jones movie with Harrison Ford in it based on the Frank Darabont script for the fourth indie film that was never made. What's the problem, right? Or give me anything. This sounds like a nightmare. It makes me sad. Well, that's good. This guy says, in other words, porn made especially for you. That's a good point too. This sounds boring. He says, they hate making movies, go do something else. This from the creators of Other Bad Business Models. This is the dumbest idea ever. Who wants to watch something soulless and lifeless? And I just, I see this so often when it comes to people crapping on AI created content and the potential for AI created content that I just, first off, these people who make these claims, they act like they live in a world where the movies and the games and the book, well, maybe the books, but the movies and the games and the Broadway show and the music and all the things that they consume, at an entertainment level are somehow beautifully pristine, made in a vacuum, and it's just the artist's vision. And that's such a fucking lie. All of anything, outside of the shoestring budget that like a one-man band indie group would use to create a movie or a game or whatever is going to be, to some extent, varying degrees, of course, designed and written, and decisions get made by committee and or the powers that be, aka the people who have the money, who are not the vision holders of the title. I'm interviewing a guy tomorrow, Brandon Salisbury, I think is how you say his name, who is doing a documentary on George Romero, who got fired from Resident Evil, the first movie. George fucking Romero, the guy who created the modern zombies, the guy who made, Night of the Living Dead. Because the producer on that movie, who had the rights, didn't want it to be that gory. And he wanted it to be more of a prestige movie versus like a good, fun B zombie thriller. Right? I mean, it's always, so none of this is in a vacuum. So don't pretend like it is. One could easily argue that AI is going to help the one-man band artist who really has something to say or has something to express sit there at his or her computer and go, I want to tell a story about this, and I want it to be like this, and I want it to be like this. And then he watches or she watches it and goes, I like that, but the middle part isn't really getting my message across. Okay, I mean, this is a tool for allowing people more avenues of expression. And I'm sorry, but you've been hoodwinked a little bit. If you think that, I think there's more going on, right? I think there's something about, there's a lot of people who just don't trust technology, even gamers, which blows my mind. They're just conservative when it comes to their views of the future, right? That's part of it. But I think there's something else going on where it's like, they've bought into this capitalistic, not to be a broken record on capitalism, but this idea that, oh, work really hard and don't give up and learn your craft and learn your skill and you'll get ahead or whatever. And suddenly this shit comes along. What he wants. This shit comes along and suddenly it kind of explodes that everywhere. Suddenly, you know, I've always taken a bit of a annoyance or been a little annoyed by when a lot of craftspeople like, oh, idea guys are a dime a dozen. People who have ideas, it's the execution. Well, of course it's the execution. No one's going to buy a book of ideas. But good ideas and good commercial ideas are very valuable. And I think there's a part of it where a lot of these crafts folks or people who want to be that begin to look at this and go, well, hey, wait a minute. Now I don't have that hill to fight on anymore. Because according to Joe Russo or whichever Russo brother it was, you can go home at the end of a long day and tell the AI to make your perfect movie. And I can see how that scares people, but it would be nice if people would get to the issue that they're really bothered by. Because don't fucking tell me. Don't fucking tell me. If I said to you, hey, come over tonight, let's go to the movies tonight. Well, come over because you're not going to do it in a theater. Come over tonight, let's watch a movie. And I could say, okay, we could watch the latest Hollywood blockbuster or even just an indie film that, you know, decent budget film. Something like... I don't fucking know anymore. La La Land, beautiful fucking movie. La La Land, not low budget, but you know, it's not fucking Star Wars. We can do that, or we can watch a movie where you and I go on this really cool adventure, and it's like Star Wars meets Raiders of the Lost Ark meets Terminator 2, and we have these 20 things we want to have happen, and these 20 things we want to surprise us. I'm not saying I wouldn't want to ever watch La La Land. Of course I would. But to act like that movie, the movie that writes itself for your own taste, is not compelling, that's a lie. It's a lie. I'm sorry. I'll never watch a movie made by AI that's been given directions by me. Really? Come on. Forget you for a minute. Let's say you're not creative. You don't have creative on your body. Let's say Steven Spielberg or what's the guy? Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan sat down and said, hey, I want to make a Batman movie with AI. And all he did was spend a couple of days talking into the computer, and he just released it on his fucking Twitter account. I'm not watching that. Why? You want the guy to have to spend $350 million to make it? Or, you know, some processing power and you're off to the fucking races. I don't agree with the pushback. I do agree. Of course, we have to be careful. And, you know, I'm not saying we don't need any kind of regulation. I'm a big fan of regulation within limits. Regulated regulation. But this idea that it's so gloom and doom and this is soulless. No, it's not. You're bothered by other things, and you're taking it out on the poor chat. You're taking it out on Alexa. And she doesn't like it. All right, I'm off. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow on the interview. If not, I'll see you down the road. Be well. Thank you.